We talked a lot about transformation and what's happening now, and I think what makes the difference is that we have a very, very fast pace of transformation. So transformation is happening extremely fast now, so maybe faster than in the past. And if you look at Europe in that geopolitical game, what will be the role of Europe in the future? Power shifting through different regions. We are, with our industrial and with our technological environment and tradition, and how does this go with what is coming now? So I'm thinking about AI, about all the fast digitization, what are the implications there? We are also in a post-COVID situation, and even if COVID is past and we don't speak about it anymore, and I hope nobody will have to speak about that anymore in the future, but the implications, what that COVID did for us, socially speaking, and in terms of companies and transformations of the companies, it's still there. So now in this very fast-moving transformation, how do we as a company can cope with that? I think it's a very important question, and I think it's a board question, because you need to understand, if that is the reality, where do I want to move with my company? Do I want to remain in this business, or do I want to move to another one? Do I want to be the profitability leader in the industry? Then you might adopt faster all the digital tools, which is an investment, a big investment, which needs to be taken as a decision at board level. Or you still believe that the traditional technologies have a chance to evolve in a little bit slower pace. That is also another strategic dimension. So starting with what's happening around us, redefining, what's the mission and the vision and the position of the company, I think that's definitively a board decision. And then it's up to the management to implement that change. And what we have also seen when it comes to global businesses, international businesses, we have social constraints in Europe which are different from the constraints in other parts of the world. So with leaders coming, from outside Europe, they might believe that you can keep the pace of the transformation also in the company. So what we see outside can be, with the same pace, be transformed inside. And my experience is that this is not the case. So we are much slower in transforming inside than what is probably required in order to be all the time at the upper edge. And this needs to understand. So we are not in a culture of hire and fire, which has positive and negative effect and implications. It has to be understood, it has to be managed, and it has to be managed in the correct way. Because in the end, even if you are in a very fast-moving company, a very agile company, which can basically adapt to all the external environmental changes, also there you have to take care of your people, because in the end, it's the people who are doing the business, especially in our electrical and electronic industry, where it's still the handshake which makes the business. And if you don't understand that, you are out, because that's what our customers are expecting from us. So taking care of your people also in bigger or smaller transitions and transformations, it's very important in order to remain competitive on the market and to have the motivation, the level of motivation of the people as you would like them to be. A positive example, so several positive examples I have seen during my career was when the need of transformation was very clearly identified. Then it was very well articulated why that is needed. And the redirection of the organization according to a new strategic orientation was also very well communicated and very well understood. And then it comes to the implementation phase, which is then on the management and the middle management, which is the difficult part, to be very clear. There, where I see the positive examples where people were involved in the discussions, as much as you can. Sometimes you cannot involve everybody, but involving as soon as possible, as many as possible, in order to get the best ideas. Because I'm coming back to what I said before, you need to really understand the reality of your business. And for me, the reality of the business is, what customer wants from you, what your competitors are doing. So understanding all the stakeholders, the ecosystem of your business is extremely important. And that cannot do one person by itself. It needs to be in a discussions and in many, many discussions and interaction with different levels of the organization so that you make sure that you get that spirit of the business. And when you have got that spirit of the business and you have the plans, then it comes to execution. And it comes also a moment in the execution where you are either changing position or cutting position. So these are the tough decisions which you make. And there, for me, it's important that with the people who are remaining in the organization, let's say that you have to restructure, let's say that you have to cut positions, or you have to change people because you need other capabilities. It's important that those who remain are well taken care of. I mean, it's also those who have to go, of course, you have to take good care of. But that's more, the legal constraints we have in Europe. And I'm confident that I didn't see an example where, companies are not following the legal constraints. But which is not legal constraint is how do you take care of the people remaining? That's up to your company. That's up to your culture. And I think that's an aspect which also can be, making the difference in a transformation if you succeed or not. There are also cases of transformations which are not necessarily, triggered by a big external, like Big Bang. But the trigger of the transformation is the fact that you understand that your company is not well positioned. So what to do there? So one of the things I have in mind which I was leading and defining was understanding that the company did not have the necessary critical mass. So it was a niche player. And with the ambition the company had from a position of a niche player, that was not a good match. So the transformation there was more in the direction of integrating different acquired companies to create a one company of very scattered ecosystem of small, mid-sized companies, to align the processes, to align everybody around the common goal. And it turned out to be very beneficial. So having that scale, having the muscles necessary to position yourself on the market, you started also to be perceived by the competitive landscape as a major player. So that is an example of a transformation which was going in the direction of developing, integrating, developing, understanding. Again, it's all starting with understanding the ecosystem and understanding what is hindering a company to achieve the goals. So it's another type of direction of transformation, more inclusive, but also a good one. And as I said, it was a very positive example. We discussed transformation, and we said that transformation was never happening as fast as it happens today. We can also say, and it was not me saying it for the first time, that it will also never be as slow as it is today. So I think we all understood that the only reality we have is the changing reality. And we all need to adapt to that, and we all need to cope to that. And of course, also as a board, even if that's the main task of the management, to make sure that you are up to speed and that you have all the processes in place and all the the support and all the resources. It's also part of the board to understand that you are not operating as you were operating 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and that this speed of transformation needs to become a DNA of the company. I think historically, if you look maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, boards were very much on the supervisory of the financial KPIs of the company to make sure that the shareholders are very happy. Then in many cases, it's not only the shareholders, it's all the stakeholders to be happy. But what is happening now is that you have also to cope with a much faster transformation and with an environment which is incredibly unstable today. So being prepared for big disruptions, technological disruptions, and we are back to the AI and the AI impact and how does that impact the company. Being prepared on the demographic change because in 10 years, so the people who are, the Gen Z now, in 10 years, they will be the next leaders. So how will they cope with these transformations and fast changing environments? There are questions which the board needs to address.